여러분 안녕하세요. 대한민국 영어 감잡기 프로젝트 데미안과 함께하는 너쉬영북 시간입니다. 이번 시간은 20강 리딩입니다. 60쪽 맨 아래 핑크로 하이라이트 된 부분부터입니다. 자, 들어갑니다. He looked at me for only a moment and suddenly I listened tensely to the pastor's words. Heard him speak about Cain and his mark, and deep within me I felt the knowledge that it was not as he was teaching it, that one could look at it differently, that his view was not above criticism. This 1 minute re-established the link between me and Demian, and how strange! Hardly was I aware of a certain spiritual affinity when I saw it translated into physical closeness. I had no idea whether he was able to arrange it this way himself, or whether it happened only by chance. I still believed firmly in chance at that time, but after a few days, Demian suddenly switched seats in confirmation class and came to sit in front of me. I can still recall it precisely. In the miserable poorhouse air of the overcrowded classroom, I loved the scent of fresh soap emanating from his nape, and after a few days, he had again changed the seats and now sat next to me. There he stayed all winter and the spring. The morning hours had changed completely. They no longer put me to sleep or bored me. I actually looked forward to them. Sometimes both of us listened to the pastor with the utmost concentration, and a glance from my neighbor could draw my attention to a remarkable story, an unusual saying. A further glance from him, a special one, could make me critical or doubtful. Yet all too frequently, we paid no attention. Demian was never rude to the teacher or to his fellow students. I never saw him indulge in the usual pranks. Not once did I hear him guffaw or gossip during class, and he never incurred a teacher's reprimand. But very quietly and more with signs and glances than whispering, he contrived to let me share in his activities, and these sometimes were strange. For instance, he would tell me which of the students interested him and how he studied them. About some of them, he had very precise knowledge. He would tell me before class, when I signal with my thumb, so-and-so will turn around and look at us, or will scratch his neck. During the period when it had almost completely slipped my mind, Max would suddenly make a significant gesture with his thumb. I would glance quickly at the student indicated, and each time I saw him perform the desired movement like a puppet on a string. I begged Max to try this out on the pastor, but he refused. Only once, when I came to class unprepared and told him that I hoped the pastor would not call on me that day, he helped me. The pastor looked for a student to recite an assigned catechism passage, and his eyes sweeping through the room came to rest on my guilty face. Slowly he approached me, his finger pointing at me, my name beginning to form on his lips. And suddenly he became distracted or uneasy, pulled at his shirt collar, stepped up to Demian, who was looking him directly in the eye and seemed to want to ask him something. But he turned away again, cleared his throat a few times, and then called on someone else. Even though these tricks amused me, I began to notice gradually that my friend frequently played the same game with me. It would happen on my way to school that I would suddenly feel Demian walking not far behind me, and when I turned around, he was there, in fact. Can you actually make someone think what you want him to? I asked him. He answered readily in his quiet, factual, and adult manner. No, he said, I can't do that. You see, we don't have free will, even though the pastor makes believe we do. A person can neither think what he wants to, nor can I make him think what I want to. However, one can study someone very closely, and then one can often know almost exactly what he thinks or feels. And then one can also anticipate what he will do the next moment. It's simple enough, only people don't know it. Of course, you need practice. For example, there's a species of butterfly, a night moth, in which the females are much less common than the males. The moths breed exactly like all animals. The male fertilizes the female, and the female lays the eggs. Now, if you take a female night moth, many naturalists have tried this experiment. The male moth will visit this female at night, and they will come from hours away. From hours away. Just think. From a distance of several miles, all these males sense the only female in the region. One looks for an explanation for this phenomenon, but it is not easy. You must assume that they have a sense of smell of some sort, like a hunting dog that can pick up and follow a seemingly imperceptible scent. Do you see? Nature abounds with such inexplicable things. But my argument is, if the female moths were as abundant as the males, the latter would not have such a highly developed sense of smell. They've acquired it only because they had to train themselves to have it. If a person were to concentrate all his willpower on a certain end, then he would achieve it. That's all. 자, 오늘은 여기까지 하겠습니다. 오늘 영상이 여러분이 영어의 감을 잡는 데 도움이 된다면 구독, 좋아요로 알려주세요. 더 좋은 영상을 만드는 데 큰 힘이 될 것입니다. 여러분 감사합니다.